Good morning, everyone. Today I have the pleasure of speaking to Chad Rubin. Chad, how you doing today?
It's not bad. Thanks for having me on. Excited to be here.
Okay, Chad is a veteran in this space, has multiple companies, very successful, very well known, very liked and respected. And we spoke yesterday about your latest company, which I knew about from LinkedIn, but you showed me a presentation. I was very impressed, and it basically increases profit for private label sellers at pretty much no cost. And I know the biggest struggle, challenge sellers are facing today is it worth it? They're not making money, and this allows you to squeeze out every last penny you can. So, Chad, tell me a little bit how this came about, and then we'll dive into a presentation how
Yeah,
it
so
works.
I've been doing this for 17 years. I have my own D2C brand on Amazon. We make vacuum filters, coffee filters, cannabis filters, sell direct. And after I sold Stubana and Prosper Show, I started really just hunkering down on this business, my ecom business. And I realized I was trying to do everything, right? I was trying to fix PPC. I was trying to create better listings, but I was like, wait a minute, why are we not changing price? Pricing is the biggest lever. You don't have to spend more money, right? You just have to monetize it. And so most people are focusing on PPC and ad spend when they're not actually shaking what their mama gave them and monetizing their price that already exists on the marketplace.
Right
So
now
yeah,
there's been reprices for decades, but this is for private label. This is something completely different.
this is exclusively for private label, and private label is really hard because on Amazon, uh, there's a knock-on effect, right? There's a second order of consequence that happens when you make a change to price. It affects your BSR. It affects your ranking position. And how do you know if going up in price is the right decision or going down in price? And now, since we have machine learning models and AI, right, we can leverage these signals internally to make the right perfect price that optimizes for for your intention, for your goal.
So can you give me some examples without mentioning names, or if you could mention names, how much increase sellers have had by utilizing the software?
Yeah, and by the way, I'd love to kind of just can we just go right into me showing you? I mean, I'm happy to. So 10% on average is what we see, but sometimes it's 10, 20, 30, 40% more. Nobody is changing price. So price is inherently very easy to talk about in the Amazon space, but actually hard to practice because of it's just a messy, messy marketplace with so many signals. And on top of that, you have to factor in your competition. And this is why repricers fail, is that they don't actually factor any of this in. And this is why Profasee is doing so well.
Okay, so
So,
let's.
so let me share my screen real quick. So like, look, I love acquisition, right? I love PPC. Don't get me wrong. But the same amount of emphasis from Amazon sellers, they don't place any emphasis on pricing, and this leads to massive, massive missed opportunities. And so when brands on Amazon think about growth, they think about ad spend. This is how they've been trained by Amazon. But in reality, right, it's not about throwing more money at ads. If you iterate on pricing, you're going to make a whole lot more money and more money in your pocket. So we've started Profasee really out of this pain of automatically understanding the mismatch between the customer's willingness to pay on the platform with the value that you're offering and charging for that value on the platform. So um, let's just like get into details, right? Let's get into the nitty gritty. I know you like to just cut to the chase, right? So on average, we see 10% more profit when people use Profasee. Now, let's use an example. We're going to use an influencer in the space. He happens to be a customer, Mina, and we'll use this as an example. So red is profit of this year, blue is profit of last year. And you can see when he activated it. And you can see anytime there's a gap really, and where the red line and the blue line are not moving together, not correlated, right? That's us rotationally doing dynamic pricing to help them capitalize on the mispricing opportunity that exists. So in this case, we were doing a lot of dynamic pricing, and then we saw a surge in demand. We started increasing price based on that, and look at this gap here. This gap, and the bigger the gap, the bigger the opportunity that we've capitalized on. This is all the pretty much the money that he was leaving on the table. Now,
Wow.
let's actually open up a listing. Just going to drop down here to the listing. and I'm using a Chrome extension, right? I'm using Keepa. Let's go to all time. So most brands on Amazon never change price. And this is no different, right? Maybe you have a deal here or there, but no change in price. We start doing dynamic pricing with Profasee,
Wow.
occasionally changing price. Now the green line is BSR. So we're changing pricing. Look at what happens to BSR. BSR drops, it gets better, it improves. We're making him more money all through this period. We saw a surge in demand. Boom, we raised price again. Now he started with us at this price around $28. Right now the pricing at $37. Sales rank is flat. And then we just recently raised price again. This is a 7-figure profit capture opportunity that we capitalized on. Now, if we go back, let's take another example. This is Mike Jackness from Ecom Crew. He's also an OG in the space, an icon. And this is an example of where we drop price to drive volume in BSR in the off season. And then the in season, we started increasing price when we had surge in demand and drove more profit. This also, I mean, he ended up selling his company, but we increased his EBITDA tremendously, 12% roughly, in the sale process, where he was able to capture any missing dollars that were being left on the table.
Right. Amazing. And so you want to show us, like you mentioned real AI. I mean, can you like explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So when you come into Profasee, let's just go through how we do it. So you connect your account to Profasee. We connect in, we go 2 years. So we have 2 years of data collecting all this transactional data. So we're collecting it and we're also enriching it. So we're also going out and finding your competitors. We're doing technically a reverse ASIN lookup automatically for you, pulling your competitors, pulling their BSR, their ranking position, pulling their price, their inventory, their sales velocity, and their revenue. We're also pulling in your sessions, your conversion rate, all this previous data from your company. So we're pulling all this in. But like I've shared earlier, that we collect all this data, but now the question is, well, how does the market react? So we need to price test. So we price test and train the model. Now, why do we do this? If you ever go on Instagram or Facebook or Netflix, right, these algorithms don't know what to serve you unless you interact with it, right? You need to essentially uncover what the reactions are going to be. And the same way we do that here as well with hyperlearning. So we essentially price test at scale, -5% to +5% range, to see how do your competitors react to price changes? How does Amazon react to price changes? And how do your customers react to price changes? So we continuously test prices and learn from them and build it into our model. And we do this in a methodical approach that allows our model to gather precise data. So we have a nice, strong foundation for optimization. So this is the first 30 days. Then now we have the proper data. We see how the market reacts and how Amazon reacts, how your customers react. And then we push the optimal price point at scale, right? So we constantly are identifying and revealing untapped opportunity so we can take advantage of the difference between really the value and the price on the marketplace. And so there's always an imbalance. It's just like the stock market, right? There's mispricing on the stock market. Value traders come in, they see those price discrepancies and they capitalize on that imbalance and they arbitrage those opportunities. Profasee is no different. So we do the same thing. And the second month, we're in this optimization phase. We rinse and repeat. We go through the report with our data science team. Our model is improving over time. Going back to your question around AI, right? AI essentially learns and evolves. And if it fails, it learns from that quick and then integrates that into the approach and then actually makes those changes in real time. That's exactly what I'm talking about when I say real AI. Our AI is not built 10 years ago or 15 years ago and never updated anything, right? We're actually using state of the art. I put $2.4 million into this business after all my last sales, where over time, our recommendations get better and better. And that's really the heart of AI. It evolves.
That's amazing. Okay, well, one thing, would this work for a new product?
That's a great question. So we need to have at least 3 months of sales history to use our profit optimization platform. Now, if you actually go to our application, which I'm just going to do it real quick, and you connect your account, you can set up if you want to optimize for profit, revenue, or velocity. So for a profit model, we need 3 months of data. For our revenue model, we need 3 months of data. But if you want to just focus on velocity, we don't need 3 months of data. So we can start implementing the velocity model right away. Now, there's a lot of customizations here, right? I didn't talk about them, but you set up your intention for the ASIN on an ASIN level. You set up your profile. Do I want to be neutral with aggressiveness, or do I want to be aggressive, or is it subscribe and save or bestseller? These are all profiles that you can set up in the system, and then you can tell our system, what do you want to optimize for? So this is all feeding back to our models that we've built in the back end. So you're giving us your like what you want, and you're giving us boundaries. So you're like, hey, you know what? My boundary is a min price of this price. This is the ceiling price. This is our cost of goods sold, and then go to work. And essentially, it's like hitting the yes button. And Amazon's algorithm is very, very sensitive to price changes in a beautiful way, where you don't have to spend more money. Like we have a seller who literally stopped advertising so heavily because he saw pricing was a lever that he can operate and use that would get him even more benefits than just using advertising alone.
Right. I think this is great. I mean, any seller, and there are a lot of people watching this that fit into that space. Any seller that has existing listings that they're making nice profit, it's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. I mean, again, most people are never changing price because
Yeah.
Amazon is really guiding you to this behavior of, okay, spend more money. And that benefits Amazon, right? Amazon gets more money the more advertising dollars you spend. It's the second biggest line item after AWS on Amazon's P&L. So pricing is this forgotten, it's a blind spot really for Amazon brands, right? Most brands, what do? They create their price, they copy a competitor who then copied another competitor, and that competitor was probably broke. And so they're making all of these decisions that are suboptimal and really under monetizing uh, their product on the platform.
I love it. One last thing, how do you charge, for guys making an extra 50 grand from this, how much do you take out of
Yeah.
it? Like,
So everything is straightforward. We don't hide a thing. Pricing is right here on our website. And pricing is driven by the amount of ASINs that we're managing. It's a flat price, right? So it's all transparent. There's no percentage of revenue. We're not your partner, right? We're here to help you be more effective. So you tell us, okay, we're going to run this many ASINs of your catalog. This is the revenue of those ASINs. It's a flat price. It spits out that price. The last thing I want to mention, not one other software in our space does this, right? Name me one software that will essentially put their money where their mouth is. We have a risk-free 3x ROI guarantee. If you're not if we're not delivering a 3x ROI, we keep working for free until we do.
okay, I think it's amazing. I mean, the best way I would describe it is like Expedia, like anyone that goes online to Expedia, you see the pricing keeps changing and there's nobody updating it, and they know what they're doing. So I
Totally.
would, yeah. So I would say it's exactly that. And no, I don't know anyone else doing something like this. And I think this is gonna resonate with a lot of listeners. And I have the link all set up, and I'll post it soon. And looking forward. And so nice to see you. Okay.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm super excited to be here. Thanks for sharing this with the community.
Okay. Best of luck. Thank you.